Hey, this is Jamey with Stonemeyer Games, and today I'm going to share my favorite mechanism in the two-player game, Odin's Ravens. This is a racing game for two players where you represent one of these two ravens, and you are trying to fly down a track of cards, fly towards an endpoint and then back the other way. These cards are set up at the beginning of the game and they look like this. So they're kind of just these basic terrain cards, and they're lined up at the beginning of the game so that no terrain is directly adjacent to the same terrain type. And so it's a little hard to show in camera vertically here, but if this was the line of cards, and say this was the whole line. The line is actually 16 cards. Actually, I can just hold up two here with one hand, so I'll do that. So if this was the entire line of cards, and I'm starting here, I would need to play a card showing this terrain to move here, then play a, let me get one more card actually. Let me do this one. I would need to play this terrain card, and then I would need to play a forest to move here, and then I'd circle back around. So if this is the end of the row, this long row of cards, I would need to circle back around and play this terrain type, and then go here and keep on going back until I reach the end of the track. And each raven, the interesting hook here is that each raven starts on the same side of the track, or the same side, like a vertical side, but on a different horizontal side. So my raven might start here and go this way and circle back, and the other raven might start here, or would start there and go the other way around the track. Did I point the right way there? This way around the track. There we go. And this leads to a really interesting hook in the game, because the game would be very basic and probably a little bit luck-driven if that was it, because it would just be you drawing terrain cards and playing them to move through these terrains. However, instead of that being it, you have Loki cards. So you have terrain cards that you can draw, and you also have these Loki cards, and they let you manipulate this track, the composition of this track itself. So for example, there's a Loki card that lets you flip a card over. And whenever you have two terrains that are the same in a row, when I play a forest card, instead of just moving on to the one forest, I move through all consecutive forests. So you can manipulate the card like this. And the added level of that makes this super interesting, in my opinion, is because you are flying down one side of the track and then back the other side, and because the other player is doing the same thing, whenever you manipulate a card like this, you're not just impacting the side of the track that you're currently on, but you impact the other side as well, which A, might impact your return trip on the other side, and B, might impact the other player depending on where they are on the track. It could impact them twice on this side of the track and the other side, or it could just impact them on one side depending on where they're positioned right now. And so the timing of when you play these Loki cards and how you play them, and that flipping example is just one of the different ways that you can manipulate the track. The timing of when you play these is really, really interesting. You use them early in the game to race forward and hopefully align some things on the other side of the track so you can also race back. Do you save them so you can impede the journey of the other player as they race forward on their way back without impacting you at all? Or do you do some things that maybe are mutually beneficial for you and the other player, but maybe benefit you just a little bit more? These Loki cards add a really, really interesting element to the game. Both their actual abilities that they have, that you can look up in the rulebook if you're interested, and also exactly when you play them. I don't think I've ever seen a game like this that uses a single track that both players are racing in opposite directions on, and that, plus the Loki cards, leads to some really, really interesting decisions in the game. That is my favorite mechanism in Odin's Ravens. I would love to hear your thoughts if you've played this game, or if you've played any other game where you are racing in opposite directions as the other players, and how decisions you make during that race, whether it's manipulating the track or something else, can impact the other players participating in that race. Thanks.